Welcome to another episode of The Heart of the Matter. Today we're talking about African women, and with me as our guests are Ifeoma Fafunwa and Bimbo Akintola. You're welcome to The Heart of the Matter.
Thank you.
We're talking about Hair Word to start with, and Hair Word is a series of, is a play that consists of several plays. Tell us about it.
Hair Word is a collection of short skits, stories, of 20 different Nigerian women. It's performed by 10 women who change characters. But basically, it covers different issues that Nigerian women face that limit their potential for independence, for contribution, and for nation building.
Okay, now that's a whole load. So you're talking to women about how they can make their contribution to the Nigerian society. Bimbo, did you act in any of these?
I did.
Okay.
I do 3 of the stories, and it's from different parts of Nigeria. For me, as an actor, it's also about relationships. Relationships between a man and a woman, a mother and a daughter, friends, women. It's just looking at how we relate to each other and how, if we do it properly, in unity, we can be so much fiercer.
What are the lessons that Hair Word is communicating? I mean, I know you want to help women become nation builders, etc., but what are the things that a woman will pick up from this and be encouraged to do whatever, realize her potential?
Not only women, men. Everybody, children, well, not children, young teenagers, everybody. It tells you that we have a culture here of sweeping everything under the carpet, of not talking about the most important things. And it's shrouded in some form of mystery. And because of this, it keeps growing. And there's so many things happening. We talk about rape. In Nigeria, it's so difficult to talk about it. And it's so difficult for the person who's been victimized to get the right treatment. We talk about the treatment between husband and wife, how to treat your wife, how to relate with your husband. You know, it's like trying to be a counselor by showing you the things that could go right or go wrong.
Okay, so Ifeoma, how can watching Hair Word encourage somebody into nation building?
Well, basically, we try to cover almost all the issues a woman can face, but we realize there are even more. And different age groups, different parts of Nigeria. How it can encourage, we don't shove any kind of doctrine down anybody's throat, so to speak. We show you, we shine a light on the situation, and we say, here's what's happening, here are the results, and this is what this woman's life will become, or this is what she's now going to be engaged in. So for instance, if you molest a 14-year-old girl, for the next 20 years or 15 years, she will have flashbacks. She will replay that story. And what that energy, that spirituality that she uses to deal with that could be utilized for better things. And so there are repercussions for every single action you take as a mother, as a father, as an uncle, as a counselor, as a teacher, as a leader. So it actually covers culture, tradition, societal behavior, and legislature.
I'm looking for one of the things that, one of the behaviors. You've talked about rape, and rape is a major problem in our society, and as you said, we sweep it under the carpet. And there have been challenges in actually being able to bring prosecutions for rape because you must allow the accused to defend himself, and his defense is usually, anti-women. He would say, well, it was consensual, or she asked for it, and so on and so forth. So what are the? I want to give the audience a takeaway. What are the points that you put across that can tell a woman that I can do it?
Well, basically, because the stories start from very simple things, like how 3 or 4 women might discuss another woman who they don't even know that's walking past. In a way, by gossiping or putting down another woman, you actually put down yourself. Yeah. Yes. So it starts with very light things like that. A mother limiting her daughter, all the way to heavier issues. But what happens is we realize that there's a psyche about energy, about focus, about giving. How do you give to society if you are burdened and saddled with your own mess, your own baggage? So it helps you to see what your baggage is and see what baggage you're creating for other people. Drop it and move forward. There's a piece, so the first half of the play just basically highlights all the problems. The second half has women who have moved through the barrier, who have gone through the fire and faced the fear and come out on the other side. So it shows true examples of women who've said, they said I couldn't do it. She said I shouldn't try, but, I'm gonna do it. I've done it. Look what I've done. And, you can't decide my destiny. That's between me and my maker. That's a line in the play. So it's up to me to set my goals. You shouldn't limit what I can do.
Now, you said that they are all true stories.
Yes.
So you've actually picked real live issues and taken them through. I remember talking to a couple who were having problems in their marriage. And it all started from the fact that the husband was abused as a child. And so anytime his wife came near him and touched him, that can affect a whole life.
It can. And also for most people who are survivors, I call them survivors of, sexual abuse, the thing is they need to speak. They need to have a voice. And so what we do with some of the pieces is that we give them a voice. The child that was never able to tell her parents what happened to her, we give you a voice because in saying it, you can now start to deal with the issues. Once you don't deal with it, then, there are all sorts of things that happen to you later. It affects every part of your relationships with your husband, with your children, with friends. So but if you can speak about it, then the healing process can start.
Now it's been running for 3 years. How come a lot of our audience didn't know about it? And if they want to watch Hair Word now, what do they do? Where can they watch it?
Well, we're going to be traveling, so there'll be a season in the future, but we had 3 seasons in the past. We'll have a season again, but right now we're gearing up to go to Harvard University and the New England area. We're going to be touring. And then we're going to Amsterdam. So if your show speaks to Nigerians or Africans in the diaspora, we'll be in Amsterdam. And then we're doing a landing show in Abuja on May 6th to 8th. And then we will be in Lagos. So if people look out for us in May, this May, they'll probably be able to catch it.
And so you're taking a whole troop of A-listers like Bimbo around the world with you. Yes, so now tell us a bit more about Hair Word, because Hair Word means listen, you said. And so you want people to pay attention to what you have to say. Tell us a bit more about what you want to achieve through Hair Word. It's not just to entertain people, obviously.
It's not only about what we have to say, but also what your inner voice is telling you.
Okay.
It's just saying, listen to yourselves. And for once, let's tell the truth. Let's talk about all the things that we can change. Let's support those that we need to support. Let's build a sisterhood. Let's be each other's, backbone. Let's be there for each other. Because if you, I work a lot with people who have been abused. And if you look at that, the first thing is that they feel it's their fault. And once you're able to talk about it, then you can remove all that. If you talk about, like in Benue State, where there are traditions that we shouldn't even see anymore in this day and age, giving out your wife as a sign of honor to a guest is the height of...
Does that still happen?
Yeah, in some parts it does. And we talk about that as well. And, it's just us saying we can change things. The power is with us. Every problem that we face in society, we can change it. We have the power.
What are the issues that the issues in marriage? Because I understand that 7 out of every 10 Christian marriages will either end up in a separation or divorce. What are the marriage issues that we need to talk about and take?
Are we talking about Nigeria?
Yes.
Or are we talking about the world?
No,
Well, I think Nigeria, but then a lot of stuff that's happening in the world will find its way here.
Yes, I mean, there are some universalities, but I mean, Nigeria, we have the unique situation where the society, the family, mothers raise sons to believe that they are special and different from women, from daughters. So I just did a focus group now with 100 university students, and I was surprised by the number of university students who were raised to fetch water or make bath water or cook food for their brothers. Today, these are young people. So they have to balance that care for their brothers with their schoolwork, while the brother is allowed to philosophize and intellectualize his existence.
So why is this happening?
But from mother-in-laws do the same thing. You are coming in basically to take my son, and you better have the right kind of food, the right kind of care for him because he's special. Well, they don't talk about their daughters the same way. So what happens is, under society, if a woman, if you want to talk about even infidelity, if a woman strays, I mean, for a man, it's considered, well, hey, I mean, he's even hailed by his friends, like, that one, well done, no,
My first child is a daughter, and she's very precious. So I can't understand how somebody would make their sons feel they are better and more important. I can tell you straight off that my sons, I used to hear from them when they were away from school when they ran out of money. But my daughter, I would hear from her if she hadn't heard from me. So where does this start? This idea that women are inferior, because that's really what it is.
You said it earlier. It starts in the home. So little things you tell your daughter, little ways in which you assign even tasks, and how much attention you place on a son. Of course, it's cultural and traditional in some places. I mean, I'm Igbo, and my brothers can inherit land, and I can't inherit land. They're just little things that the society itself tells a man. But what happens is that women now you send your daughter to school in England. I mean, women are aware, and they are capable, and they are intelligent, and far more capable than Yes, they are far more capable sometimes than the men that they are married to. And so what happens is that builds tension, because the man feels he's entitled to a whole bunch of privileges that the woman also feels, why am I here to serve? That's where the conflict comes in. And you're a pastor, so woman submit to your husband. This came up in my focus group, right? What does submit mean? The meaning of submit.
We shall talk about that in a minute. We're just going to take a short break, because that's a whole different subject that I want us to weigh in on. So if you'll stay tuned to The Heart of the Matter, we'll be back in a moment.
Divorce and separation have several disadvantages. They create dysfunctionality amongst families and with children. Divorce does not help anyone.
We can rebuild even after the greatest chaos. We can rebuild our marriages, we can rebuild our children, our families, ourselves, and even our nation. I am Wale Adefarasin.
I am Lanre Olushola. For us to begin to change and begin to address the issues in our nation, we must go back to the home.
Register for Mind the Gap on the 26th of March 2016. Join Lanre Olushola and Wale Adefarasin.
Welcome back to The Heart of the Matter, where we're talking to Bimbo Akintola and Ifeoma Fafunwa. And just before we went on a break, we talked about the way that men are raised to feel superior to women and the effects this can have in a society. Bimbo, will you weigh in on this subject?
Yeah, it's women that raise children. So we are the ones that put all these funny notions in the children. We are the enforcers of these traditions and culture. It would be the women that would say, you don't have a son yet. You're not part of the family. Until we have a boy, he can marry somebody else. It's women that say, you want to lose the crown, because your man is a crown. So if anything he wants, just, he has children outside, just tell him to bring them home. We have a piece like that. So let him bring them home so that your position is firm. You still have that crown. And everybody can see that you have a crown. We're more concerned about what people think, what people say, and it's weird because at the end of the day, if you're a Christian, it says that you will stand before your Maker, not all of us together, and you tell me what you think. So we should be scared of God, not people, but we are more scared of what people say and think than anything else.
Yeah, and also there's this notion that men don't have too much input in the raising of a child. And
that's where, men are at fault, because you should have. That's your child. You brought this life into the world. You have a responsibility.
Your child will not be the same unless there's a fatherly input.
Yes,
it's both motherly and fatherly input. So what can be done to change this?
Women, first and foremost, let's change the way we react, how we train our children. If you tell your daughter that her body is the temple of God, the boy's body is also the temple of God. He lives in all of us.
Exactly.
So tell them the same things. In my house, growing up, we all cooked with my mom. You couldn't be in the living room watching TV.
The boys cooked as well?
Yes, my brothers can cook. Boys and girls, you're there. And it was more about, there were a few things, of course, like they would have more food than the girls and stuff like that. There were a few things, but the main thing was you can achieve whatever you want to. When I wanted to become an actor, my mom said, go for it. My dad was like, go for it.
And I noted that you do not call yourself an actress.
I'm an actor.
But an actor.
Yes.
And a lot of people have this idea of if you're female, it must be actress.
We don't have doctress. We just have doctors. You can say actress if you want.
Yeah, because most doctors were male once upon a time. Now today
it did change.
And so this is one of the areas that take Ifeoma, when a wife earns more than her husband, what can society do to deal with that issue?
Well, I think it's just fine. Society shouldn't be doing anything, but it could be a problem for the man, and actually it could be a problem for the woman. I have friends or people who I've interviewed that have said to me, they've shown that they are uncomfortable with the fact that they earn more than their husbands, which doesn't make any sense because everybody brings something else. And so there must be other things that the man should be able to bring to the table or is bringing, right, if he's not earning as much as the woman. It shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't even be something that's discussed.
Well,
but it is.
It is.
It is.
Very much so.
And that is because you've raised now, we're changing society with old ideas. That's what's happening. Archaic ideas, Lagos is just a bunch of villagers living in a city of concrete, okay? So the truth of the matter is that, this is not against villagers, but it's old philosophies. Men should be able to say, if my wife has this big business, then how do I support that? It should be ours. Once you're married, you're a unit, you're raising children, and you're building a future together. And that should be the focus. But what happens is you have people, they are married, but they actually see themselves as separate. So they turn on each other and ask, what are you bringing? And why aren't you cooking my food? And I'm home. I have friends who say, and they may be earning more than their husband. Say, oh my God, it's 6 o'clock. I have to get home because my husband cannot eat dinner by himself. Now, why are you raising a son who can't eat dinner by himself? Did he not go to university? Who was there? Were you there as a mother feeding him through his entire university? Why can't he eat dinner by himself? I don't understand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you
Yeah,
mean.
that's
but
weird. Where's
I
the
believe in
lack of
families
independence?
having some time together, maybe around
Yes,
the
that's
dinner table.
different from mandating that I can't eat my meal or I can't warm my food. I'm a full-grown man and I can't warm my food. Come on. Oh, come on.
I think what happened along the way is that we lost a lot of our values and we placed it somewhere else. What it was, I believe, was that everybody ate together. It was to bond. Okay, you've gone about your business. I've been at home with the children. They've gone to school. They've come back. We're now sitting down together, and I'm telling you what happened. You're telling me what happened.
And the kids are
it-
talking
it-
too.
Yes, and we're all one unit, just to show you that this is our bonding period. But we left that part out, and it became along the way, I'm the man, you should serve me, or sit there while I eat. And also, it's the value we place on money. Why is money a sign of manhood? Why does money have to show that you're a man? Having more money than your woman doesn't mean that you're less of a man. And that's how we look at it.
Just hold that thought for a moment. Viewers, stay tuned. We'll be back with the Heart of the Matter in a moment. Welcome back to the Heart of the Matter, where we're talking about children and raising children. And you said quite a lot about the responsibility of mothers and fathers in raising a child. And I tell people, do the school run. The school run is not about getting your children to school. It's about that opportunity to bond on the way. And a lot of people have relegated this to the drivers and house help. And let's face it, our children, a lot of our children are being brought up by house help. Now, just talk about children. There's this young man whose father overindulged him, and he was sending him a huge amount of pocket money in university in Canada, or school, I don't know quite what it was. And he was boasting to his friends that I know that when you get on an aircraft, you make the walk of shame. Okay? So we've got many parents who fly their children first class. And what do you think?
It's horrible. You're not helping that child. I think, I was talking to a friend of mine once and she said to me, are you calling me a bad parent? I said, that's not what I mean. I'm just asking, you were raised a particular way. Well, what's wrong with it? That's what made you the person that you are. That's why we're friends. Growing up in my house, my mom didn't have to say a word. There was a look, and we all understood that look. If she does this, you know you have to get up. If she doesn't, and when adults coming, you're leaving. We've lost all that. We're training our children to be, I don't know what. I think it's part of this. We're changing. We're leaving tradition and culture, and we're becoming a new people, and we're in between, sort of. I think that's part of the problem. We're in between. And a lot of us as Nigerians have now decided that money is the most important thing. And the only way we can show affection to our children, because we're so busy, is by throwing money at them. You're not there when they come back from school. You're not there when they go to school. You see them maybe on Sunday when you all go to church. So you think, okay, to show you how much I love you, here's money. That's also part of the problem. It's different things. It's huge. It's so many different things.
An overindulged child is going to become a lazy child.
Of course.
It's almost inevitable.
Yes, I mean, there are so many examples of that. And I think that's corruption. I don't think that existed before oil. I mean, I think it's oil. It's quick money. It's trying to make a name, because name is so important in Nigeria. That's another thing. And that existed before corruption.
What is a name?
A name is a very British colonial concept, right? So in England, there are names. People who say that one is a Pratt, or that one comes this, or this one's a Sloan, or, they know, it's a classist society.
Yeah. A good reputation is encouraged.
Yes.
But then what is a good reputation? It's not about how much money you have or how many houses you built. It's about what value you're bringing to your world.
That's what it used to be.
Now it's about
but
money.
not anymore. People are writing their histories and building their names now. And I'm sure that happened in Europe, and money enables you to do that.
Another thing is, in raising children, is we ought to ask ourselves what impact whatever decisions we take will have on generations, not just on our children, but on the generations that are coming behind them. Now, we talked about wives submit to your husbands, and you were going to take me up on that. So
Yes.
I'll try.
We wanted you to define
Submission.
What submission is.
because let me tell you why. I had this focus group I talked about just recently, so it's fresh on my mind. And students would bring that up about wives submitting to their husbands. I'm not a religious person, I'm spiritual. So for me, I haven't, interpretations of the Bible for me are not fixed in the sense that you go to one different church and it says something else. And one of the ladies said that her pastor had told her that it would be godly for her, it should be seen well in the eyes of God if when serving her husband food, she should just curtsy a little bit, right? Curtsy a little bit. So can you shed some light on, as a pastor, let's put you in interview.
Well, I think the first thing is marriage is a partnership. We've said that over here already. And in a partnership works better if you have a senior partner. And submit to your husband really is saying that you should let him have the casting vote, as it were. But you both have to come you both have to agree together. A man doesn't just wake up and say, I'm buying a new house. It has to be part of the plan that the two of them have made together. So now I've just went into the scripture and just looked for husbands, wives submit to your own husbands. I don't think that marriage is meant for one to lord it over the other. It's alien to God's plan for marriage. I think marriage is meant for two people to share one life. You become one. And so you shouldn't be living apart. And you do live apart if this is my money, this is her money, and so on. So it's not about lording it over one another. It's just simply a mechanism to enable them to be able to go forward wherever there's an impasse. Okay. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, it kind of does, but then you said this casting vote thing. So what if it's an area, what if you have a stubborn husband and you're a specialist in a certain area, and then he wants to cast this vote, which is rubbish? What do we do with that? What do we do with the rubbish casting vote?
That's why you talk about discussing.
After we discuss it, he's just one of those guys that's like, refuses.
Yeah. Then you should win. But if he is stubborn, like you said, and he just casts his vote, let him. And then when he runs into trouble, he will remember that you said you shouldn't go this way. Okay? I think, because a submissive wife is just one that will not force her way. And remember, the same chapter of Scripture says, submit to one another. Mm-hmm. So there are times, I think one of the things about marriage is learning to say sorry when you haven't done anything wrong. Sometimes saying sorry, whether it's the husband or the wife, helps to diffuse a situation. Mm-hmm.
So if it says submit to one another, why don't we repeat that line? Why do we keep hearing the other one?
Yeah, that's because it's a patriarchal world.
Yeah, so this is the problem.
Yeah, so the problem is, anytime somebody says, wives submit to your husband, wives quote back and say, submit to one another.
Okay, good. Well, we need to get that passage, whatever that is, and then
I'll give it to you.
Yes, good.
I'll give it to you.
Excellent.
So what happens
Put it on the website.
Put it on our website.
You're off to Harvard, to New England, and you're going to be doing the play Hereward. What's next?
Well, after we go to Harvard and then we go to the New England area, we go to Amsterdam, we go to Abuja. We're hoping actually in Abuja that we will we'll have attending the show all the ministers. So we're going to invite legislature, people who basically are in positions of leadership and pastors out in Abuja. So we'll probably contact you for meetings. And then after that, we come back again. Now I teach a class, a workshop, which is free. And she works in the community with abused women, and so we all do some kind of work. And then we will come back again towards the end of the year and do a show, and it's by demand. So it's great.
Wonderful, because I believe that what will happen is we save Nigeria one person at a time. You know, we can't, it's not easy to do the whole thing overnight, but thank you so much, Ifeoma and Bimbo, for coming to the heart of the matter. We're really grateful you were able to come, and we're happy to have had you. I'm sure the viewers enjoyed listening to you, and would like to have you come back some other time again. Viewers, it's been a pleasure bringing this episode of The Heart of the Matter to you. Until we meet again next week, stay